Quote from Dave right before we started recording. I hate everything.
No, I don't like anything.
Oh, I don't like anything. I'm sorry. That is slightly
But
different.
I do also hate everything.
No,
Yeah.
well, it is different, but I think we've established that he hates everything. But I think even though we know he hates everything, we kind of thought there were some things that he liked. But now he has confirmed that
pain.
not only does he hate everything, but he doesn't like anything either.
Sean, do you want to describe what the topic is plus the gag that we don't think is going to happen?
well, yeah. So today's show is on sustainability and health, which I think
My
is,
favorite.
I mean, like, really, if you're listening to this now and it's at least your second show, you know what's coming. But the show is on sustainability and health, which obviously parts of this company think are really important and parts of our company think are bullshit. And so this morning...
Is it think it's bullshit, or is it an inability to move past the OCD tendency to...
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's that, but that's less funny. We can dig in. So this morning...
Not make it serious or anything.
This morning, Dave and I had a story meeting, which was really, really awesome, by the way. But then we end, and he was going to sleep because it was like 9 a.m.
Yeah, I got a whole 2.5 hours.
So he was going to sleep and said, I got to get up for the show, which always cracks me up.
Right, because just in case you guys aren't dialed in, we record the shows live at 3 Eastern.
Okay, my average wake-up time this past week has been around 8 to midnight.
It's just so dysfunctional. So
I think his family calls him, "Who's that guy?"
That sounds like a good name for a sitcom.
It does. They're going on. Anyway.
Who's that guy?
So he said, I'm waking up. What's the show about today? Sustainability and health. Do I really have to be there? Yes, Dave, you have to
I thought it would be funny if I just turned the camera on and I slept during it.
That actually would be awesome. I'd be okay with that because then you're at least there. But yeah, so he was going to eat cookies through the whole episode. But he just woke up, and apparently he doesn't like to eat cookies when he first wakes up. Is that true, Dave?
My blood sugar's high when I first wake up. So I definitely save all my eating of crap until much later in the day. So if I were to eat crap right now, I would seriously feel really horrible.
And we were encouraging him to get past this bullshit whole health blood sugar, like staying alive thing.
Eat the cookies anyway,
Be a
damn
team
it.
player, right?
I got some beaver nuggets back there. Those things are about from the trip I went to see.
Yeah, I can't believe you have beaver nuggets. Like, that's a Texas thing. You traveled with beaver nuggets.
Yes, I smuggled them.
Courtney is so happy right
out of the state. Now, my question is, how long are those good for? There is no expiration date on that bag.
Oh, I think you're good for the apocalypse.
Oh, they were never good. Like, I love it. Like,
they're great. If anybody's not had beaver nuggets, they taste
what
like
are beaver nuggets?
Corn pops, but better.
yeah, they're basically corn pops.
They're like giant corn pops, right?
It is at the best gas station. This will be my something cool. It's at the best gas station in the world, Buc-ee's, which has like 50 or more clean toilets at all time. Like they have like people like just going back and forth. It's their only job to clean the damn things.
How clean are the toilets, Dave?
Oh, you could eat off them. I mean, you just know. You're like when I walk into a toilet or a restroom where I am, you're very likely to get a diarrhea show, maybe some blood on the seat.
A fecal philiac wet dream.
Okay, Dave, you're driving down the street. You're running. You're not late. You're not early. You have exactly enough time to make one stop and one stop only.
Oh, you're going right where I was going to go.
Right. So you can stop and get beaver nuggets and and you have to go to the bathroom. Okay.
Oh, well.
So you're going to go to you can get beaver nuggets and the clean bathroom, or you can go to Sonic and get the best eyes.
This is exactly what I was going to say.
It depends if I have to go to the bathroom. If I have to go to the bathroom, Sonic restrooms are the opposite of Buc-ee's. There's like one restroom that's like employees only. You got to ask to use it, and then there's like a broken doorknob, and there's a brick tied to a key, and the toilet seat's all wobbly, and the sink may or may not work. That's a shit show.
Is it wobbly for everyone, or is that
just fat guys?
Someday there's going to be a Buc-ee's Sonic merger, and Dave's just going to float all over the place.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen. That was a tiny bit of worst show ever.
All right. Well, that was Dave's something cool.
And that's also my contribution for the entire show. I'm now going to go read. Bye.
All right. John, what do you got?
I'm going to say the Story Shop update.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, it's so this is the update we've been waiting for a while, and what it allows us to do is if you're using Story Shop, it actually doesn't look like much of an update. It's way faster, and the thing that
stealth update.
It is kind of a stealth update. It's really zippy. So just opening it up and going from elements to characters and to story, really super fast, and there's no time. It's awesome.
It's like all the pages are already loaded. It's just waiting for shit to load.
Yeah. It really is. And the thing I didn't like about the first iteration was when you say clicked on a character that's linked, it would actually go to a different page. And I think that's really inefficient. And the new version, you click on it and it's just a little window hovers up and gives you the information you need, which is beautiful.
Is that true? Because I've been using it and I didn't notice that.
Yeah, totally.
The one thing that sneaked right under the radar, do you know about this? Like, it's just very casually, like nobody thought to mention it. This is the version that's real-time collaborative.
Right.
So like Sean and I could be in a world at the same time and we can be typing and like it's real time. It's almost like Google Docs.
Yeah, we stress tested it yesterday for our World Builder Summit, because that's next week and we're gonna have a whole bunch of people in there all using it at the same time, like in a professional setting. Like, it's really exciting. So, but what's amazing about this update isn't just that it's zippy, it's that it's changed the core. It's actually even though it looks mostly the same, it's actually different under the hood. And now we can, rapidly build all the features that we want to build out because the core is there. And so Writer is right around the corner. In fact, it's mostly written. It just needs to be
hooked up and turned on, and we're going to get an early demo of that in a few days, actually.
Yeah. So the Story Shop update has been significant, but it also happened right in the middle of this big world building project that we're doing, and we just got to kind of see it in real time and see the bugs squashed, as we transitioned. And I can confidently say that we really wanted to build Story Shop. Yes, we wanted to build it for the community, of course, but we really wanted to build it for us first. That's where it was born. We've kind of reached a limit with the tools that we have to tell stories in the way that we want to tell them. What can we dream next? And, we called our beats 1.0, the very first iteration. And then 2.0 was really using Scrivener in some interesting ways and thinking, how can we push this further? And use some different vocabulary to kind of widen what we're doing here and how we're thinking. But we couldn't really hit 3.0 until now, and now we're hitting Beats 3.0, just like we wanted 2 years ago when we imagined this. So that's definitely something cool.
Just so nobody gets pissed at us, the character thing is the way I said. It's not. I just checked it. You're thinking of probably secondary characters?
Elements. I'm thinking of elements. Yeah.
But I can't wait for that too, because that's what's so great about this is it does iterate, and I keep seeing like, okay, because now, without boring people, we've made some changes behind the scenes and things are going to happen faster now, and it's cool to know where it's going. All right, so for my something cool, I don't think you did this before, Sean. I'm pretty sure is Dialogue by Robert McKee. His book is really good. Sean said you got to read this, and I did. Dave, have you checked this book out? It's Robert McKee's the guy who did Story. I'm
actually pretty sure I did, but I think you'll have a slightly different take on it anyway.
Yeah, maybe you did. I would ask Dave if he remembers, but he doesn't listen to the show.
No, he doesn't listen.
Which book is it?
Dialogue by Robert McKee.
No, I haven't read that.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm getting it on audio, and I know that when we talked about coming back from the Story conference, our overall impression of the conference was very good. Like we had a great time. We learned a ton. It's changed the way that I'm writing a little bit, but at the same time, we also kind of shat on it a little bit because it's kind of stodgy and set in his ways about some things that we disagreed with. But dude knows,
like humans can't love, unless they have an ulterior motive.
He knows his shit. Like he just knows it. Like the book is just so rich.
I think he wrote me.
It's because dialogue is, and this is just a little idea from the book, is that you think in terms of dialogue being the speech that happens between characters, and that's absolutely true. But the subtitle on this is The Art of Verbal Action, and dialogue is, he makes a point that two people talking is a duologue. So a dialogue doesn't actually require two people. It's usually anytime a character is talking to anybody like themselves or whatever. And so it enters into indirect dialogue and stuff that, you know, he just goes through all the different modes of ways that you can address it and different points of view and what a character is always trying to get, which is the point. Like the reason it's verbal action is because a character is acting against another character or in tandem with another character to achieve something. And the arguments are all based around like, what is the character trying to do? What is the text and the subtext? Because there's what they say, and then there's what they really mean. And they usually can't say what they really mean because sometimes it's not even aware to them. And there's a lot of that sort of thing. And it's just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it is an exceptional book on craft. And I read a lot of books on craft, but mostly I get bored because it's the same stuff over and over. And so, you know, I find myself skimming and then, okay, well, I'll move on to the next one. This book, I only know the audio version, is 11 hours. And I'm ready to listen to it again.
Is it read by Gilbert Gottfried?
No, it's read by Robert McKee.
Which is actually awesome. Yeah.
You know, he's hating every minute of it.
Yeah.
He loves to hear himself talk.
No, he does. He's probably masturbating.
And it's a performance. Like I slowed it down to 1x speed, the normal speed. And it's like telling you about dialogue. Like I was like, I kept checking my thing. I'm like, is this half speed? So I'm listening to it at 2x and I'm not losing a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It actually amused me. And it made me, listening to dialogue made me like him more than seeing him in person. I do appreciate his knowledge base and his articulation on the matter. He chooses excellent examples. So like the Frasier thing, right? Johnny, have you been there?
Yet, I know it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's of all the movies, of all the examples that he can pull, he's trying to prove a point, and he pulls an episode of Frasier, which is a really good episode of Frasier, and the exchange between
the one
the
where
brothers.
Eddie got rabies and killed everybody.
I didn't see that episode. Was that good? Tell us about that, Dave. Share with the class.
How different would Cujo have been with Eddie?
Eddie got rabies, and the father of Frasier had already died on the chair, and it had been about a week because Frasier was out on a coke bender, and his brother was out. I don't know what he was doing. So the dad was dead. The dog.
No. I want to know what the brother was doing. What was Miles doing?
I'm not sure. I think like a traveling show or something. I'm not sure. But the dad was dead and congealed to the chair. And when Frasier came back, Eddie was eating him, and Eddie had somehow gotten rabies. And then he attacked Frasier and he bit off his penis. And that was like the finale, I think.
The best part is the very
Niles was killing Daphne, Perry said.
The very authoritarian voice that Dave's giving that. Somebody's going to tune in the middle and be like, I didn't see that episode.
I think they removed it and did another one after because some people got upset. I thought it was like the best episode ever, though.
The other thing about the McKee, because Sean said I liked him more in the book, and I agree, but it's for a slightly different reason. I mean, I think he really knows his craft. But did you notice how much more forgiving he is? Like in person,
yeah, because he doesn't have a live audience.
In person, he's a
chuckle at.
character. Yeah, he's trying to do shit.
He's playing to the crowd, and this was about trying to educate me, and I really appreciated that. I didn't feel like he wasted my time.
And he allowed room for exceptions on everything. He didn't say, well, this is shitty dialogue and you should never, ever do this. He said, usually, and these are rules. He says,
so he's more dogmatic in person.
Yeah. So even,
he's a character in person.
And there's stuff which is word for word, right? I actually do remember this. I did it as my something cool the day I had heard it, where you probably aren't here yet because I think it's towards the end, but he gets word for word. He does the whole thing about the guy that makes dinner for his wife.
Yeah, you told me.
Right. And so that just really struck me as hilarious that it's this thing that seems very impromptu is actually very scripted, and which is his entire thing in person for sure. It's all very scripted. But it just felt a little different in the book, and it feels like education, and I really appreciate that.
I did tell you my theory about his live whatever you call it, show, conference, whatever. Where
I love how Dave just put that in air quotes.
Yeah, whatever. But I told you my theory before. Like maybe he's being that dogmatic to weed out the people that are just gonna do whatever you say, and figure, well, those people aren't gonna be real writers. You gotta know the rules and then buck them. Don't listen to me.
Well, there are
Sort
a
of a
lot.
contrarian school of thought there.
Yeah, I do feel that he does things with intention. I think he's a really intelligent man, and I don't know that there's a better articulator on the craft right now. Like, he's really, really excellent at that. And I do think that pretty much everybody writing should read dialogue because why not?
I almost didn't. If Sean hadn't told me to, because it sounds like, well, dialogue. Like, it's just a small, it just didn't seem.
But it's not really. It's about the craft of storytelling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so do you want to move into sustainability and health? And Dave, you can go sleep.
Yeah, or Dave. I mean, really, I'm not going to mind if you eat the beaver nuggets. Just go right ahead.
Encouraging Dave to kill himself.
All right, so I don't know that we can really overstate how important this is, because I know for me, I really took this for granted for a long time, both sustainability and health, which are kind of really the same thing, right? Because if you're not healthy, then it's not going to be sustainable. And
you can sustain unhealthiness for quite a while. I'm 40 some years running.
How much longer do you think you got, Dave?
4 more years.
4 more years.
Just like the president.
So like an election cycle. All right. So
he does it every birthday. 4 more years.
I think it's really important to be healthy, and it's really easy to ignore. And kind of, we're making our own rules. We're first solopreneurs. We're in this for ourselves. And for my first year writing, I gained about 30 pounds. Like, I just started sitting for like all day, which I'd never done in my entire life.
Wait, you're not supposed to do that?
You apparently are not supposed to do that.
Shit.
And I say right now, I'm probably the healthiest I've been since I was 20.
You're lucky. You have a grandfather that lived to be like 100 billion years old.
99 close.
Yeah.
That guy was Italian. Don't let him fool you.
He was. He told the whole world he was Spanish. So anyway, I think that being able to just kind of be mindful of your health and that's really where it starts, is being mindful, and then you can kind of get better over time. And I certainly you can start eating those. Oh yeah.
So for those of you who can't see, Dave was just making love to the Oreos with his face.
Yeah, he actually was. Yeah. They are 100% wet right now. So I think that really paying attention to how you feel and kind of being aware of how you want to feel is a core component to really being successful and achieving a lot, because I think it's hard to be at your peak when you're not, physically or mentally there. So I kind of think that that's both of it. I think there's mind and body, and there's really, I don't want to tell anybody how to live at all. Dave can't eat his beaver nuggets, but I do know what has kind of worked for me. I know what, Dave knows what has and hasn't worked for him. I think, Johnny, you have very, you've been more mindful than any of us for the longest. This is a fairly new thing for me. I was always lucky to have kind of a high metabolism, so I got to cheat. I was what I would call like a skinny fat for a long time. So I'm 6'3", and I'm 40 pounds lighter than I was like about a year ago. But I don't look much different. It's like, if you saw me, Johnny, you've seen me like every week for that entire year.
But I've noticed it, like a good wife. I've said, did you lose weight? I know I've said that before. So you can tell, but it's subtle. Honestly, this is one of those things. I think the reason mindfulness is important is because it's really, really easy to skip. And one of the things that happened
and feel good about it. Like, I'm working so hard, so I don't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to eat at my desk and not, skip my workout because I was working so hard. But just over the past year, I've noticed in Sean a shift in behavior that I kind of always did, and I felt that it was right, but then I also felt guilty because he never did it. Was making a workout.
Oh, prioritizing.
Yeah, you scheduled around, and it always used to be just, well, whatever. And just over the past year, like since the Orange Theory opened up and stuff, it's been like, well, no,
which I do get shit for, but whatever, it's awesome.
Well, it's just like, that's when my workout is. So no, I can't do it then. And that's the way it needs to be, is it needs to be a block on your calendar. But it doesn't necessarily need to be a workout. Like I think that can scare people away.
No, I absolutely agree with that. But I want to go back to the first thing you said, which is super important. Put it on your calendar, because if it's not, then it's just so easy for it to not happen. And I'm actually I'm not super.
You're probably looking for an excuse for it not to happen. You're probably like, oh, I forgot. Oops, bad.
Right. So next week, because we have World Builder, I actually don't have. I only get to work out, I think, twice, and then I'm on vacation, so it's not for a week. And I'm like a little bummed on that, just because I know that now I'm out of habit. Now I've broken it. There's been like a
you just get up really early.
So
I'm getting to the gym at 6 a.m. on Monday. I'm like, I'm not going to sit all day.
I'm still going to walk. Still going to walk, but I'm not going to go actually to Orange Theory. I'm not going to go to the gym. But that's it. True. I think it's these little habits. So I think you're right. I think a workout is scary. Like, okay, walking is great. I mean, even Dave, like, that's what you do when you do it, is you walk, right?
Yes.
There was a podcast that people really like.
A podcast where Dave walked.
That's coming back anytime now.
I've heard.
We had the 1-year anniversary of its death back in April. That was sad.
It was not do a commemorative episode every time.
It was so unceremonious too. It just died. And then he had a couple,
like all my hopes and dreams.
Right. Yeah, people did love that. Anyway, walking. I think that's the easiest thing. And if we go back a couple of years ago, I mean, really, this is interesting because it's all documented. I mean, when I started walking maybe 3 years ago, I hadn't walked in years, but it was because I wanted to listen to fiction. Like, I wanted to read more books, but at the time, every time I read fiction, it felt like working, and I just kept wanting to rearrange things. And so I wanted to hear audiobooks, because then it's different. I could absorb the story in a different way. And why not walk? I clearly need exercise too. And that was great. That got me going. And then a couple of years ago, I went to California, and just, when you see pictures of yourself and you're like, oh, I kind of wish I'd never seen that. And there were
great photo ever.
Well, there were.
I get mad at people that take it from the wrong angle. Like, I look good from exactly one angle, the one you're seeing, and that's not even really that good. You take a picture of me from any other angle, I hate you. I look like Jabba the Hutt.
He's like Sean Penn when it comes at you with his fists.
Wow, that's so particular.
I'm like, wow, am I really that fat in real life? Holy shit!
Young people aren't catching the angry Sean Penn trope.
No, that's from the 80s. That's ancient.
Jen isn't getting like the McDLT references I tried to make earlier this week.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
But I actually find something that you like to do. There was since we moved here, like, the biking kind of sucks here because people ride along the roads. We'd have to go somewhere, and that's just a pain. And I'm getting them on the car. But like, we used to ride as a family or something like that. The kids will take their scooters and go around the neighborhood. You can kind of, multitask in terms of like spending time with somebody, or like Sean said, doing fiction. I used to be a pretty serious gym rat in terms of going and doing a workout, but I don't belong to a regular gym anymore. Now I climb, and I just really like climbing. So like, that just happens to be a workout. Like, it's a great way to get out and do something different that doesn't feel like, oh, I'm doing something that I just have to torture my way through.
There was a story in the news today about they did a study. I forget who it was. Some company that basically had access to walking data. It wasn't Fitbit, but something to that effect. And
Walking Data sounds like the nerdy version of Walking Dead.
It's the guy from Star Trek.
That's my next podcast, Walking Data. So basically, they discovered that the levels of obesity were, big shock, highest places where people got the few steps. Like places like where somebody walked.
Explain this to me.
Was it also the people who ate more than they burned?
Well, yeah, they talk about food as well, but walking was like one of them. Like basically, there were places where
So fewer steps led to higher obesity.
Yeah, 1,600 steps a day leads to being fat, and 8,000 led to you not being fat.
Wait. You're saying more exercise leads to more calories burned?
It's a shocking news story. It really
did all the networks run with this?
No, they're bearing it.
Are any of them holding it for sweeps?
No. It's fake news.
You guys see that one on dead puppies makes children sad?
And clowns make you hot. Wait, just me?
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where like walking is something that is probably the easiest exercise. Assuming you're able to walk, is the easiest exercise you can get in there that can make the biggest difference.
Okay, well, isn't like a big part of it too? It's not just the exercise. I think there's a huge benefit in just getting out and breathing air. And
yeah, I was just going to raise that point actually.
Like, right? Whether you work in like an office all day or you work from home,
you can walk on a treadmill and get the same effect. I mean,
no, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No,
you can in terms of
it's not the same. Your
You're
body
burning
doesn't
the same calories.
Yes, but that's not the only benefit of walking.
Well, I know. I understand what you're saying, but I mean, some people are limited to walking inside. If you live in China, you're walking inside because that goddamn pollution.
If you want to do that, by the way, you raise the...
Okay, what percentage of our listeners right now do you think are living in China?
1 billion.
1 billion%.
We are huge in China.
Okay. Well, I think, yes, you're absolutely right. I would never discourage someone from walking if that was their only, option. Of course.
Or people that live in South Florida.
I mean, same thing. When we lived at the apartment, every time it was raining, like I would just go down to, I preferred to walk outside 100% of the time, but I just go down to the gym and use the treadmill if I needed to, because it's better than not walking. But if you can, get out and get fresh air and oxygen and sunlight, that's really good for you.
And take a break. I mean, there's something to be said for walking while working. I had a treadmill desk for a while. I would absolutely not be opposed to having another one again. I'm not eager to go get one again, but there's no reason not to. But then you're working and walking. Like, go ahead and take a damn break. You don't need to be that focused every second. Like, that's yeah.
The best thing about a treadmill desk is you can set it in front of your TV and you can like put food on it. It's just like really.
But it's not just about like burning calories or anything like that. Like that's kind of part of it too. One of the things that we wanted to mention was, you should sit as little as possible. So as writers, I'm going to stop doing the show. As writers, I don't like to write fiction standing up. I don't like to write any of my drafts, even nonfiction standing up. So I sit down, for 3 hours at least, and then usually more in the mornings for sure. I'm sitting down. But what that does is there were 2 books that were about, stop it, you bastards. What were the 2 books about the sitting that?
Gotta Move Your DNA was one of them.
One was better if I remember.
Sit Up or Move It.
Move it. Yeah. You got to move it.
That doesn't sound right to me, but yeah, it was something about, I mean, the point is sitting causes its own host of things. One of the things that I noticed recently, this is real recent for me, is you get out of balance. I used to feel pretty in balance, but this is maybe more than anybody cares about. But since like climbing is very pole centric, and so I used to have more of a balanced workout, but now that I'm doing that and I haven't been doing basically what is a lower body pulling exercise, like it's basically that straightens you up, is I noticed that if I get up from my chair and I've been sitting for too long, there's this moment where I kind of like have to force myself to sit up. And that didn't used to be the case.
It's called Get Up by Dr. James Levine.
Okay, yeah, and then I do remember Levine. But the point is that you can get those weird imbalances too, which then cause a whole host of things. Like most people in our society have their heads too far forward, and your head is heavy, and it's burdensome on the back of your neck, which can cause headaches and back pain and all this shit. If you walk in shoes with a heel, like that upsets your whole posterior chain. And these are things that can cause all sorts of imbalances that you aren't even aware of. So a lot of it is just like, it's just about whole body, like not being in that sitting modern question mark position all the time.
That is like my position 12 hours out of the day.
Yeah, it's the most, it is the most destructive to your body. And
Great.
and that's what I was talking about with treadmills too. I think it's in Move Your DNA where they talk about how we're not meant to walk on things like treadmills. We're not even meant to walk on actual like sidewalks. Like it's ridiculous. We're meant to walk over rocky terrain, and our feet are supposed to have things to grip to. We're not supposed to be in shoes, Dave.
No.
And so, it's that's how we've kind of evolved. And so walking on a treadmill is kind of weird for your body actually, because your foot is like, well, there's no difference. And then
the belt's moving under you.
Right.
Throw some rocks on it.
And then think how like actually disorienting that is for your brain. Really, if you think about it, you're walking but not going anywhere, compared to actually walking and being out in, nature. You don't have to be on a nature trail. I walk in my neighborhood. It's nature, really.
Well, there's degrees to everything. So is walking on a treadmill bad? Absolutely not.
No, much better than not walking.
But a step up is, what if you could actually walk? Like that would be even better. You get the fresh air, you get a break, you get it's a little meditative. You are getting out of that, because if you have a treadmill desk, my guess is, unless everything is perfect, you're still like kind of looking down, you know what I mean? You're working, you're still in kind of a weird postural shape. So changing it up, I've just credit to Roland Denzel, who I talked to this about a little bit, and we did a show with him about some of these topics years ago. And he's like, well, there's no such thing as like a good postural position.
It's movement.
A bad postural position is the one that you do all the time, no matter what it is. So you want to, he was like, do some stuff standing, do some stuff if you have a treadmill desk, do some stuff sitting on a ball, do some stuff kneeling. Like he really, I don't do all that, but like he was advocating moving around a lot and pay attention.
I actually try to do that as much as possible. So I have different tools for different purposes. If I'm like reading over something now, I'll put it on the iPad and walk around the house. Just make like lazy big circles in the living room or something, because I'm moving. I'm moving while reading. I don't need to watch where I'm going. But it's not being static. It's not staying in one position.
I think that there's a real habit stacking thing to this too. These are things that you do like in iterative changes. So, let's say you are doing all your walking on a treadmill, which again is great. Like there's nothing wrong with it compared to like being sedentary or not, like it's great. But you might be like, okay, well, I'm going to walk today. Or, if you notice that certain things do seem to be, shortening up. So you are getting that like short hip flexors, which is what basically has you in an L shape between your lap and your torso. Then, maybe you say, well, maybe I'll try yoga or something like that. Remember when Dave was going to do Diamond Dallas Page yoga?
Don't remind me.
I remember when Dave was going to do a lot of things.
Fuck you.
Hey, have you ever seen the website Blog to Fit?
I hate you all.
So, but as you do more of these things, you will become more aware of just how you are. And so I've started finally, like there were things that I ignored for the longest time. Like I never really cared about how I slept, but like, okay, well now it's time to optimize that. And so I'm paying attention to how I sleep, and I'm just trying a bunch of experiments there. The thing that I mentioned about like the straightening up, that's because it's tight hip flexors and I wasn't getting that lower, the back, the posterior chain stuff. So like there are exercises you can do that are pull type exercises to bring you back into balance. But those sorts of things you begin to notice once you're more aware, because sometimes feeling bad doesn't feel bad. It just feels normal. And it's not until you start to do some of the healthy things that you go, oh, I felt like shit and I didn't know it.
That is very true. And I think that's the thing about being skinny fat. Like it was really easy for me to tell myself that I was healthy when I really wasn't as healthy as I could have been. And so last week, I had just the most miserable trip ever. And I mean,
you took a lot of LSD.
I could go in detail on worst show ever, but basically I was going to Montreal for an event, and we were dicked around for hours and hours and hours. And then at 2 a.m, our flight was canceled and we had to reschedule, and I couldn't get another flight until 9 p.m. that day. Just the worst. And
the 9 p.m. flight was, oh, I'm sorry, you aren't done with the story.
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is I went 40 hours without sleep, just
and
staying
didn't
in
make
the
it to
airport.
Montreal.
And never made it to Montreal. I had to end up going back home because by the time I could get up there, it would pretty much be over. It was just the worst. I spent a lot of time and money to go to JFK. And
awesome.
Like literally, it was the worst.
So you were up 40 hours straight and nothing went your way. Welcome.
Yeah, right. It was really hilarious how many things went wrong. Like everything that could have did.
I wrote your trip.
I swear Dave was writing my trip.
Were you imagining Dave the whole time?
Yes. I'm like, because Dave would have killed himself or someone. There's no doubt about it. Like, and I was trying to be my normal optimistic self, and life kept just punching me harder and harder. And then
we could see it in the slacks.
Yeah, it was so miserable. But I expected it to totally wipe me out, by the time I got home, and but it didn't. And in a way, I'm not grateful for it at all. Like, don't get me wrong. But I did feel happy to know that, like, I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty strong. Like I bounced right away from it. My body wasn't aching, like, even though I didn't have sleep and I slept on the floor and was cramped in the plane. Like I've had way less inconvenience than that and been way more wiped out than that. But I'm eating well. My mind is in a really good place. My body's in a really good place. And so I didn't get destroyed like I thought I would. So as we kind of like shift here, do you want to talk? Because I think it is mind and body. So do we want to have best strategies? And I think that, it's easy to, heckle Dave, but I think that, Dave has strategies too, because, you deal with mind body issues all the time. So what are the things that we do to maximize our performance given our individual strengths and weaknesses and be sustainable? Right. So I think like I love going outside and switching. I mean, for me, I have switched all of my meetings. If I don't need to be in Zoom for some reason, like obviously right now, we all need to be in Zoom. This wouldn't work if all three of us were walking. But after we're all done recording today, Johnny and I have a meeting. I can't imagine we're going to stay on Zoom. We're each going to get on the phone.
Oh, I actively rebel. There have been times when Sean's like, we really should do that on Zoom. That's the right way to do it. And I'll be like, aw, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because our preference is always walking. Because if you're going to be talking anyway, why stand still? It's just good for your body. It's good for your mind to move. So I love going out. I like making sure I walk. I walk twice a day at least. And I think that's been the number one thing.
How long do you walk per day?
I walk in 2 40-minute walks, and then plus the gym. Although I always go over when you and I are talking. And then with me and Johnny on Tuesdays, we walk for 2 hours straight.
Although this last time we couldn't take it. That was the first one in the Texas heat. I think
it was too hot. Yeah.
Well, because I'd met somebody for lunch and had a wine flight and a meal. So I was just like, oh, and then I got out in the 100-degree heat and was like, oh, can't take it.
I didn't call you a pussy. Well, anyway,
the wine had something to do with it.
I think that what I like about going outside and walking is that I think that, like Johnny said earlier, it's about habit stacking. And if you can create like a base, I think everything else that I was able to do, I could not have done had I not been walking. Like that's a good starting point. And if you're not doing anything else, I think getting up and walking is a great.
I mean, it's also good for, when you're frustrated with your story, like seriously getting at, like, even if I'm not walking regularly, like when I'm just sick of everything I'm writing or I'm stuck on something, I definitely go out, and I find that 100% of the time it helps my frame of mind to get out of my house.
Yeah. Walking is good for body and mind. Like it's just, especially if you can do it in a separate space. Actually, okay, that's going to be my separate one, is separate your spaces. Because, right, that's a really good mind thing. If you, for the worst, I mean, it was terrible when I used to have my office was in my bedroom, and there was just no way around it. This was a little over a year ago when we lived in the apartment. And that's just kind of miserable. It's miserable for me. It's miserable for Cindy. She wakes up and hears me on the keyboard. Like it's just no break, at all. The work is always there. You have to have separate spaces so that your brain is, able to relax.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't ever had that issue, but that would really suck. Separating your space temporarily is, I guess, the way I would counterpoint that is, we're indies, and especially if you're full time and that's what you do, it's really, really easy to let everything bleed into everything else. I've had a rule for a while. I mean, I break it when necessary, but in general, it's like you can't get me after 6, unless it's something that we have scheduled or whatever. And in general, I don't work weekends unless we have an event this weekend or there's a real reason to. And Sean's actually real diligent about that too. I haven't tried to schedule meetings with Dave because I don't want to get clawed, but I'm guessing that's similar. But it's like you have to have, and with Sean, it's like date day too. Like don't try to schedule something during date day, although you used to be weaker on that too. You used to allow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a this year thing. I tried to take date days last year, but this year I actually said, no matter what, I mean, a couple have been moved because circumstance, but for
Cindy
the most
did
part,
get to attend your passport and haircuts.
Right. Okay. So last year, because time was so limited that we would use date days for like, okay, well, I have to go to the Social Security office. You want to come with me? Right. But yeah, it's all iterative. Like that's the thing. You just find one thing and then add another and add another and add another. And once one is just no longer a habit, but really just kind of part of the fabric of what you do and how you live, then that makes it easy.
Well, I mean, this is why sustainability is in the title of this, because you think like, oh, well, I can just work all these extra hours to get ahead. Well, yeah, I mean, there are times in kind of startup mode where you can
push.
But I've been doing that for 8 years.
Right. But like you can hit a wall. And so it tends to be better. It's like if you're running a race, it's usually better to pace yourself and then sprint more at the end rather than, go, and then you run out of gas. And that's kind of what can happen is, sometimes going slower, or in this case, just working a little less, actually gives you more longevity, for the long term. And that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah. I used to just figure, okay, I'm going to work till 10 o'clock. Like if that's what I need to do, it's what I need to do. And there's been a few times lately because we got so behind on our line editing that that's the reality, but it is the exception and not the rule at all. And most of the times I'm done. When I'm done for the day, I'm done. And I get up early and I start again, but I'm not obnoxious about that. And that is something that, we definitely iterated into. I think having a schedule is really important. And although you don't, have to be religious about it, I think it's like deadlines. You want to have them in place to kind of give you those fences and constraints, and so that you can really deliver.
I find that I get more done if I'm trying to avoid a really obvious sounding thing. If I bake it into my schedules help me. Schedules, even for personal things, help me get more done because I know that I only have until 6. So if I want to make sure that something gets done, so for instance, Stone Table, I want to touch that group. Well, I'm about to say something that Dave's going to mock me for. I want to check in with that group every weekday. And so I was like, that needs to fit into the schedule. Those are my fences. So it's not like, well, I'll get to it. It's like, no, I do it from this time to this time every day. I just looked through a shared world that Sean created, and it was like, well, I could just have that on, but no, you find a block that can help you achieve more, and you're working around your self-imposed limits.
Yeah, Dave, do you try ever to make yourself a schedule, or do you just the macro? Okay, this is the big thing that I have to do, and I'm just going to hack at it until it's done.
I write out schedules and plans. I write out more shit than probably words I write in my fiction.
So is it almost like a masturbatory thing though? Like I want to design my schedule, and you're dreaming about getting it done.
Yeah, I do that, and I plan. I just don't execute. What usually happens is real life interrupts. Either family obligations interrupt, or I'm stuck on my book, and it just sucks for whatever reason, and I gotta work my way through it. And that's the reality of the situation. Then I wind up being up all night and getting 2 hours sleep on SPP day.
So let's hit the last major thing, and that's the whole issue of typing, right? So we're typing at all times. So what are some strategies we can do to kind of try to save our hands?
Well, I know definitely dictation when it makes sense. I'm still not there with fiction. I admire people who can do that. I can't. I know I'll be able to train myself one day, but for me, it's just hard. But I'm trying to get better at doing dictation. I worked a little bit in Story Shop with dictation, and I like that. That was working for me because it was just a sentence at a time. But one thing I'm going to do, I actually haven't told either of you guys about this, but I've been thinking about it a lot, is switching to the Dvorak keyboard. You know, it's just different than QWERTY.
I've seen that ridiculous thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I heard, I actually know the guy who wrote the original like manual for Dvorak and the argument as to why it was better. But he's been trying to. No, I'll tell you. But it the whole thing is.
You know how fucking hard that's going to be to retrain your fingers where the keys are.
Well, it takes a while. Like it takes a while. But here's, and I have been thinking about it for years because I type so much and it is supposedly a lot more efficient. But I was listening to a podcast with Matt Mullenweg, and he was talking about it. And he said he learned to do it when he was, I think, 16 years old. And the reason was, look, the future's not going anywhere. I'm going to be typing for the rest of my life. If this is more efficient, I'm just going to figure it out now and then be faster for the rest of my life. And this number blew me away. It's such a differential. I'm like, okay, well, clearly I want to learn that. So he said that the average person types an equivalent of 18 miles a year with their fingers, but the Dvorak keyboard would be 2 miles. That's kind of crazy amazing. So I want to learn to do that, even if it takes me a while.
Just think of all that exercise your fingers are getting.
Yeah, but my fingers hurt. So
yeah, I'm going to keep doing the same old shit. So those of you who are like, I'm not doing that, I'm with you.
Well, I'm going to give it a try. I'll report back.
This is Sean, who still has the crappy Mac keyboard, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you use that little. Okay. Talk about degrees. So I have the Microsoft ergonomic keyboard. It's the wireless Bluetooth one.
Right.
I have that.
It's so much better than the big Death Star with the cable.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit of a raised middle and it's split and it's much more natural. Sean is jamming his fingers in that little fucking tiny thing, and oh my God, why are you looking at Dvorak? Like, just get a sensible.
There you go, Sean.
Well, I actually had the other one.
Wonder why your fingers hurt. Did you know that more calories are burned if you walk more?
I had the other one, but for some reason the Bluetooth on it stopped working.
Oh, mine's great. Remember that with the repetition.
Yeah, agreed, Perry. I wish Apple would come out with a damned ergonomic keyboard already too.
Repetition and fixed positions are kind of what get you. And also that a lot of times it's balance. So I don't know if anybody watching on YouTube can see, but I do a lot of stretches that are, you kind of gently pull one finger back at a time. Because what we're doing when we're typing is we're flexing the front part of the hand and creating like claws basically. And so if you don't stretch them back out, a lot of that can cause you problems. If you want to get really crazy about it, they actually make little like rubber bands, or you can do it with regular rubber bands, but they make like little stretchy bands that you can like, work these muscles where you're opening your hand. I've done that before too.
Okay. Jen in comments, who had picked up Dvorak and said it was great. How long did it take you to do that? How long did it take you to pick up? And I don't know, any other little stuff, guys? I know, Dave makes fun of me for how much water I drink, which is kind of a hilarious thing to be made fun of for. But I think that's really good too, staying hydrated. Johnny, how much water do you drink?
Well, I didn't used to drink very much at all. And this is actually an interesting, just sort of anecdotal thing, is I started doing it because I couldn't sleep as well. Like my sleep sucked. And so one of the things was I was always getting up in the middle of the night to piss. So I'm like, maybe if I drink more at the beginning of the day, I'll feel less need to catch up at the end of the day and won't be drinking as much. And also, like, it's just kind of like bladder practice, honestly. Like, you're drinking more water and then you can go longer. And so I started drinking more
rubber sheets.
Right. So I started drinking more water, and I get a regular massage. Not that kind, Dave. And when I started doing this, the first massage I had after I started doing this, she's like,
unhappy ending.
She's like, your muscle tone is so much better. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, it's just so much more, like the tone is not like
so moist.
Did she purr?
No, not like
Was she petting you?
But like
rubbing oil,
like hydrated. You know what I mean? Like, so it was something that was noticeable to somebody who works with muscles for a living.
Yeah, if you see somebody and you think their skin looks beautiful, they drink a lot of water. Like it's staying hydrated is important, and your skin does need it. It's your biggest organ.
What if you drink a lot of Diet Coke? What's your skin look like?
Like yours, Dave.
Do you know how much water you drink, Sean? Do you ever track it?
No, but I drink so much water. Like if
I probably outdrink both of you in water, just ice alone.
Just maybe. I mean, it seems to be about a gallon a day for me now.
The Hunger Game cups, like 10 of those a day. It's like whatever that is.
Like
those are like
I was going to say
64 ounces.
No, I don't think they're that big.
It's not that big.
The Hunger Games cup is, yeah. It's 44 at least.
It could be 44. It's not 64.
Yeah, it is. Okay, it's 44 ounces, definitely.
Okay, so like that much.
I don't even I'm sorry. I don't believe that. That's like I'm drinking an insane amount of water that's 2 or 3 times what people recommend, and you're telling me you drink,
dude, 10
times more than me? Or not 10 times more. 5 times more?
Maybe. Like, yeah, I mean, I fill it all day long, and I'm up for like 17 hours a day. So yeah, that sounds about right. I have to fill it in between shows. Like I'm empty right now, for sure. I've been empty for half an hour.
That one's not as
No,
big.
that one's not the 44.
Right, but I've been empty like since we started the show. Like I can't go fill it.
I want you to track it. I'm not saying I don't believe you, although currently I don't. But I want you to track it just because I'm like, that's it. You should be in the Guinness Book or something.
I don't think it's that big an accomplishment, dude. It's just drinking water when I'm thirsty, but I'm always thirsty.
But the
I drink a lot of water.
recommendation is something like
diabetes.
4 ounces a day. I drink at least twice that, and you drink 5 times as much as me.
Well, no,
I think 9 gallons of Diet Coke a day.
Okay, I thought that was 32 ounces. Dave corrected me and said he thought it was 44.
The Hunger Games cup is.
I think it's 32. Okay. That's what I would guess on that.
I think,
but I fill it up a lot. I have it,
so I'll find out.
But I do fill it up a lot. You have it. You are a hoarder. Why do you have it? Why do you need a Hunger Games
Keep
cup?
all my movie cups.
Oh my God.
All right, let's wrap up, guys. So, but the short version is better habits now lead to more sustainability later. You'll be a more productive writer and business person now if you take the time later. The time now.
Yeah, and like Johnny said, it's habit stacking. It's don't stop listening to this episode and make a list of the 100 things that you're going to do to be healthy and sustainable. Pick 3 really. And one last thing too, I think is worth it that we didn't cover is stretching. I think, just very basic stretches. If you sit at your desk all the time, your body is not circulating. You could Google simple yoga stretches. I
usually try to do yoga a few times a week. It's real good.
Yeah, just very simple stretches because it gets your blood flowing. Like it's really good for you. It's good for your body.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you for listening to the Self-Publishing Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.